Assalamu alaikum. I am Dr. Shafiqur Rahman. Today I'm going to talk on the topic of cybersecurity and security of cyber physical systems. We live in the century of industrializations where humans rely on technology. We do our daily tasks with the help of technology. We do shopping online, we make online payment, even we control many devices with the help of technology. As organizations grow increasingly, they are dependent on technology. But on the other hand, organizations are very curious about security and facing security challenges, security issues almost daily. We regularly come across news concerning security failures, stolen password, identity theft, systems are infected by viruses and worms, websites are unavailable by denial of service attacks, and many others. So, in this case, the cost of information security breaches keeps increasing, and the incurred financial losses are in the range of thousands of dollars to millions of dollars per year. In this case, security is a very crucial step for software and hence cannot deny the importance of security. In this talk, I explain the basic terms and technology for cybersecurity and especially for cyber physical systems. In present day software development industry, cyber physical systems are gaining much attention of the researchers and practitioners due to their high impact on the world's economy. Modern society and current economies heavily depend on technology, infrastructure for transportations, communications, energy, and finance. So cyber attacks are increasing continuously from spam, phishing, identity theft, ransomware, and others in much larger scales attack such as money laundering and cyber terrorism. There is a real possibility that cyber attack could bring down power grids, they can disable command systems, open dam floodgates, paralyze communications, and transport systems. Since developing a secure system is not an easy task, and it is very difficult to build a secure systems. So, security is an important part of software, and organizations cannot ignore this important part. Now, I'm going to define cybersecurity and safety. These two terms often creates confusion. So, cybersecurity or security is to protect the CPS components from malicious attacks, unauthorized access, or damage to its physical parts like sensors or actuators. On the other hand, safety is the prevention of accidents. Germans use the same terms Sicherheit for both terminology, safety and security. So no confusion because Germans are very straightforward and therefore their lives are also very simple. Few examples of cyber attacks. The first one is a very famous one is Stuxnet. In 2010, Stuxnet was the first documented cyber attacks on a CPS. It targeted a Siemens control system, SCADA, through malware to control and destroy Iran's nuclear program. As a consequence, more than 50% of Iranian nuclear infrastructure was attacked. Certainly, this incident creates an alarm for cyber threats. Another attack is Marucci Waste Management System. In 2000, an Australian man was found guilty when he attacked the Marucci waste management system and released 1 million liters of impure sewage into rivers and local parks. Another one is a water filtration plant. In 2006, a hacker infiltrated a US water filtration plant with malware that changed the levels of chemicals being used to treat tap water, and thousands of homes were infected in Illinois. Furthermore, there are few examples of cyber attacks. The first is Jeep hack remotely. In this scenario, hackers took control of a car and crashed it into a ditch by remotely breaking into it to access the Jeep's onboard systems via its wireless internet connections. The second example is power failure in Ukraine. The highly destructive malware that infected at least three regional power authorities in Ukraine that led to a power failure and left thousands of homes without electricity. The outage was the result of malware that disconnected electrical substations. Now I come to explain potential types of attackers. Attackers can be categorized in four main types: cyber criminals or skills hacker, disgruntled insiders, criminal groups, and nation states. The first category, cyber criminals, they use their abilities and capabilities to find and exploit vulnerabilities in the system to compromise computer or devices. The second is disgruntled insider are a major security risk. Usually they are insider, such as employees or business partner, because they have access to computers, networks, and devices in the system. Even though the access from outside is restricted, moreover, their knowledge is sufficient to target the system and they can easily access the sensitive areas and cause damage to the system or its data. The third is criminal groups, which aim to attack a system for extortion or blackmailing. The fourth is nation states that might use their capabilities to, amongst others, attack critical cyber physical facilities for other nations. Now I come to security challenges. Cyber physical systems are going through a revolutionary stage in their development and therefore face many challenges. Security being one of the most important. Like classical software system, CPS are prone to cyber attacks into all three layers: physical, network, and application layer. Attackers hack into the system, they can spread malicious code or malware or aim at obtaining sensitive data which they can use for their malicious purposes, such as threatening organization or using the system under the guise of legitimate user by stealing identity data. Networks that are deployed in a CPS are threatened by a variety of network attacks that aim at intercepting and reducing data flow on the communications link between components. Besides network attacks, sensors and actuator nodes face physical security challenges as well. Given that they interact with the physical environment, an attacker could tamper with sensor data, for instance, by applying hot or cold objects to temperature sensing nodes. The measurement data that are transmitted to the system and thus misleading and might result in the system actuating undesired cyber physical events. Now I come to explain the CPS security. The acceptance of cyber physical system in society depends on trust from users that must be earned, and this trust can only be gained by providing adequate security goals to users. Security goals mainly refer to integrity, availability, and confidentiality. It aims to protect the system from threats and vulnerabilities and reduce risk factors. Here, threat could be anything that may harm the cyber-physical system, and it refers to potential dangers that can compromise security and bring harm to the system like cyber attacks or failures. Further security challenges in the CPS environment like risk assessment, hardware security, network security, physical security and asset protection. Now I come to explain threats in cyber-physical system. Since many cyber-physical systems depend on sensor network, their security is an important factor to consider. As a malicious attack could harm or damage the physical part of the system. Typically, they have large infrastructure and operate in a distributed environment. Most of the systems operate in a real-time environment and are network connected for remote monitoring and controlling. This opens the way for adversary to attack CPS components. So therefore, extra attention need to be given in this physical layer. Since this layer is more vulnerable to attack because sensors work in open and accessible environment, which becomes more easy to attack. Here, sensors read the information from the environment and send to sync node, and for further processing it goes to process controller. Here we identify the main threats that attacker can attack on the physical side, like jammer, denial of service attack, or the attacker can divert the data to unknown place. Natural disaster is also a natural threat. Now I come to explain security vulnerability. Vulnerability is a weakness in the system which can be exploited by software threats. Many reasons of software vulnerabilities can be inherited. That is why a system never free of them. It consists of four main phases like detection, public discovery, patch, and update. The initial detection of the vulnerability is the first phase. If an attacker figures out the failure, then attacker has a massive advantage in contrast to the owners of a software system. Since they are not aware of that weakness, once the vulnerability is known, the second phase starts, is public discovery. And no countermeasures are available at this moment. That is why phase 2 is the most dangerous one in the life cycle. When the vendor is finally able to release a patch that fixes the vulnerability of phase 3 has begun and the weakness is almost eliminated. Nonetheless, the lifecycle only ends if every user has finally installed the patch and updated, which could never be the case since they are generally not aware of the importance of security updates. Kyla is a child doll that is able to respond to the questions and strike up to a conversation. The talking doll has vulnerability which can be exploited by potential hackers to make the talking doll say what they want remotely. Now the question is how to protect security and how to build a secure system. Interaction between cyber and physical system make control system different from classical IT systems. Malicious actions can enter anywhere in the closed loop and cause harm, whether channel secured or not. Therefore, we need cybersecurity, authentications, antivirus, encryptions, firewalls, etc. But it is sufficient? However, it is not. Perhaps we need more security mechanism. And one important aspect is to determine security requirements. Thank you for the listening. And if you have any question, please ask on my following emails. I will explain in my next lecture how to determine security requirements for cyber physical system. Thank you.